morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fractal Gardens. I wanted to show you guys what I've done as a little bit of an experiment here on my southern side of my yard. And as you can see, I've taken all of these different trees and I've tied them together on a couple of these horizontal bamboo stakes here. And this is essentially a trellis and a spellier system. So with this system, you can see I've changed the shape of different trees, and now we're looking at a lot of interplanting in closer proximity. So right here, you can see I've made lateral branches of the vertical ones, and I've tied all of them down with these plant ties. So right here, you can see some figs growing. Over here you see pomegranates going in a horizontal direction. And I've limited the size here of this pear. So the reason for this is actually several. So the very first thing is that by doing this, as I've already kind of alluded to, I'm able to restrict the size of my plants and control and train the shape they grow. This offers an advantage, obviously, when you're picking fruit, right? Because this is within arm's length, whereas if I allowed it to grow vertically, it would not be. Fruit easier. So right here, it grows this pomegranate, this other one, these three over here. They're all growing on this line. So simply, all I have to do to find fruit is look along these horizontal tied down trellis branches and pick the fruit when they're ready. And so this also offers the advantage of allowing more oxygen and more light penetration into helping make these trees as healthy as possible. So by doing this, again, you can control, number one, the size and spacing of the tree, or trees, excuse me. The second reason I do this is because it also allows for greater insulation of the different plants to protect them both in extreme summer and winter conditions. So for example, here's a good one right here. You can see this jujube is now, its branches are now getting intertwined with the stone fruit over here. And because of that, these branches are very, very close. And so what that does is create an environment very similar to what you would see in the forest, with different trees' leaves falling over one another, which helps to block out some of the extreme heat and extreme sunlight in summer. In winter, it does the opposite in that it will insulate and kind of warm up some of these plants and maybe protect them if they're more cold sensitive. And so that would be reason number two, is that by doing this, you get intercropping of the vegetative growth, which allows for insulation and gives plants greater protection in both summer and winter. The third and final reason that I like to do this is an aesthetic one. I like to train my trees, and by doing this, I've created a living privacy fence that will get more and more developed over time. I can do things to customize this in any way which I see fit. I can, for example, trim the leading branches that I've espaliered, like here, if I want to promote lateral growth somewhere along here, or I can allow it to continue growing out and getting longer. I can do that with all of these guys, right? So if, for example, I were to cut this guy on this jujube right here, we're going to see more lateral growth. And so the vegetation will fill out in these middle parts. So you want to think strategically about how you prune and what purpose that will serve for you in your garden. And of course, what time you're pruning. So for example, over here with this fig tree, I will allow it first to harvest and fruit this season, and then afterwards I will prune it because I really don't want anything to be above this main upper bamboo stake that runs along the length here. So when I cut it here, I'm going to see more lateral branching outward, and so that will fill out more of the horizontal. And then within maybe a year or two, I can prune those horizontal branches, and that will allow for more vertical growth on many of these guys. So right here you see this mulberry. This is the lead or main branch right here. Is now growing into the other ones. I'm going to be able to control and restrict the height of my mulberry by doing that. You can see over here we have peaches, which are also very accessible along this horizontal bamboo stake. So really, an espalier system, a trellis system, can be used for many different species of fruit trees. Some of these, of course, are a little bit better suited in that they grow at a rate or in a way where the branching is maybe a little bit easier for use on both an espalier and a trellis. So when I say espalier and trellis, the difference there, if I've not stated it previously, is that the espalier is when you make horizontal the main branch, and a trellis just involves anything that you tie and train the direction of simply in any shape. So in other words, this is also a trellis, even though it's referred to as a fan shape. This is an espalier shape because the main branch is what is horizontal. So I hope you found this information helpful, and it gives you ideas of creating living fruit walls. As you can see, it's very effective, allows for privacy, and is super cool, just as mentioned, just to look at. So have a nice evening or afternoon, and enjoy your day. Thank you.